I didn't have until the computer got unlocked today.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, it's 5:30. Chief Mason, we'll start with you. That's all
Okay. Well, calls for service wise, we had a mild month. Offense reports are still kind of right where they normally are. Arrests were high. We had 51 arrests. Accidents was average month 25, and citations are slightly up from last year, but I still think I'd like to see us do better, but we'll see. Overtime usage wise, you can see the comparison last year. It's about a $5,000 difference to the good for us this year on our overtime usage through June. That's going to change for July. July is going to be heavy overtime month. Lots of training going on, lots of vacations in the month of July. So we'll be running a skeleton crew all month due to those two issues. Alarms, we had 30 total alarms. Those are entry type alarms to businesses. 3 of those were at residential locations, 27 at commercial. We also logged 29 fire alarms on the month. That's a new thing I've asked Lisa to do, is tell us how many fire alarms we've had come in for the month. We'll try and keep track of those. The biggest purpose for tracking those is to make sure that we don't have a business somewhere that's not keeping up with their alarm system. And that's why we have the ordinance in place. Those 29 alarms, is there any place that maybe we need to send a letter to on your behalf?
I think
That's having,
the one that you'll see most is Lowe's had a rooftop unit that has been firing off several times up until real recent. I'd say they've got it repaired.
I think they got it
Yeah,
fixed
it's
now.
going off a couple times every night, but for a while. Intermittent, but as I said, that's pretty well stopped, and that's probably, oh gosh, 6 of those false alarms.
Yeah.
Whatever were out of those.
I'll have Lisa check the numbers just to make sure it's not continuing. We don't get a trend there. And
Okay.
we can address that with them, make sure they're keeping up on it. Our Dodge Patrol cars this year are breaking down. They're getting a little older. Some of our older ones, they're pretty much going at an unprecedented rate. Already paid Tri-County. We have already paid Tri-County over $10,000 this year for car repairs on our Dodges. We do have 2 of those will be taken out of service later this year once the new Ford comes in. On here you notice next it says a new car has not arrived at the dealer. I was advised today that it had arrived late last week, and they've already transported over to Hall Safety Upfitters to get the lights and sirens and all the goodies put on it. And I talked to them today and tried to put in a request, push them along the way. So I don't really like to have that remote car.
It has arrived then, right?
Yep, it's in. It's in. It's at the Upfitters, Hall Public Safety. Sir.
Specifically, what's the problem with Dodges for 10 grand?
It's everything. Brakes, suspensions, you name it.
We've always had a difficult time with the brakes.
The brakes are, but these are brake calipers, different problems with brakes, not just brake shoes and regular wear and tear. There's been a couple of issues with bad calipers, the pistons sticking, other things like that.
That's what the Dodges were.
Suspensions, power, steering. You didn't ever hear that from me. But having new cars, considering the fact that these cars are breaking down, have anywhere from 90 to 110,000 miles on them, so they're getting some age to them. They're 2010.
Well past warranties or recalls or any of this kind of crap, right?
Yep. But I would say the other things about what's breaking down is we do have 2 cars that are currently under warranty that had some issues too. They're almost brand new. They're only, a year old. But they've been getting fixed under warranty. Yeah, Mopar. Haven't logged any issues with the Ford yet. We've had it a year. The new car that's coming is another Ford SUV to match the one that we already have. And I would suggest in the future that's probably what we'll be seeking out is the Fords, see how they hold up and get away from the Dodges for a while.
What is Ford's regular, I'll call it, regular police vehicle? Do they have a sedan type option still?
Yeah, it's the Taurus line.
The Ford Taurus line? Okay.
They
This-
come with the EcoBoost, or they come with a big V6. The EcoBoost model is pretty expensive.
The new car that's at the outfitters, when do you think that will be ready?
I've asked, I'm trying to plan for it to be in service for Mopar by August
Okay.
8th. That's why I've requested them to try and push me through so we can get all that done.
You wanna show off the new Ford at Mopar?
Absolutely. Actually, just need to have one. It's nice to have one more car.
Yeah.
That'll give us then, after that, we'll take a month or so to decommission the other two old Dodges that we have, because we're gonna have to peel the stickers off of them and try and get them sold. But that'll take care of that. The new Ford SUV's got a good reputation at this point. What you're getting is a four-wheel drive vehicle, which is what we need, and it's also pursuit rated, which is a new thing for the SUVs, because usually they were top heavy. These sit much lower to the ground. They're pursuit rated. They have more of a sedan suspension to them than a truck suspension, but you get the added space and room over a sedan. Plus you get the four-wheel drive capability, which the winters we've been having lately, that's a good thing to have. Any other questions in regards to the cars?
Ronnie's got one here.
Yes, sir.
What kind of motors, the Fords?
These just have a fuel-injected V6 in them, but they're very nice. They have a good horsepower rating. The only other motor they have is the EcoBoost, which is the twin turbo, which is a $3,000 more option, I think, at least. So I wasn't interested in that. But MD says that the one we currently have is more than sufficient for police patrol work. He's happy with it. I have no legislative requests for the Mopar. I know we went through last week in passed the ordinance on the $15,000 for special duty. Newark PD has 10 officers for Friday night and 10 officers for Saturday night to help us out with Mopar this year. Laking Memorial and Buckeye Lake are both pledging 2 for Friday night, and OSP has pledged 5 officers for Friday and Saturday nights at this time. We're still in the process of contacting some of the other agents to see in Laking County, see if they're interested. Usually Granville's participated.
How about the sheriff?
Some of the others. I have not had any reply from the sheriff's office that they have any commitment for us.
Guys, remember, it's a busy weekend for them. They got Pelotonia that day. They've got the fair. They got the Hartford Fair going on. I mean, sheriff's office is pretty busy that day.
But they don't have fair. They do have a concert.
They have the fair that day, don't they?
They'll have a very light commitment out there. The fair's official start day is Sunday, not Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Saturday is move-in day for the livestock.
Oh, okay.
That's move-in day when all the fair participants can move in,
All right.
get everything ready.
Where's the concert? Out at Buckeye Lake?
Out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I forget who they said, but they do have a concert. Plus they have a commitment at the track. They do traffic and security at the track.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're gonna commit or not. I plan tomorrow to try and get hold of Wes Humble over there, he's in charge of their specialty. See if he's able to find a commitment for us. And progress is continuing. I'll be meeting with Sergeant Smart tomorrow in regards to see if he's got any new replies. But the business contacts have went well, as you reported. We have the cooperation of Southgate Corporation for the whole area, Southgate and Staples, and the area of Hobby Lobby. There's another corporation that holds that whole area, Hobby Lobby, all the way over to the hotel. And we have their cooperation. I think they're excited to help us out, to move it to a new location. They want to cooperate and help us, send a message to everyone that go down and join us at the new end. Go down to the new route. Please don't gather here. So those folks that do gather there and you know, are gathering for the purposes of watching Mopar or watching a cruise, or people who cruise up and down, you know, we've got the permission, if they're, you know, non-paying customers that are there just for that purpose, to ask them to leave. Because, you know, I think they've joined in the spirit of wanting to get it out. They know it's a better location. This new location would be better for their business and better for the city to have it out there. Plus now we're sharing, you know, Buckeye Lake could probably definitely use the business during that time frame. If we can get everybody to jump on the bandwagon and enjoy themselves on the new route, I think we'll be good to go. And then we'll also heavily enforce in that old area of the route to try and convince people they need to move. So heavy enforcement of traffic laws is what I predict for that area of Southgate along the old route.
Chief,
That's good.
Sir,
okay, you come up on the person that they're sitting, you know, they got their lawn chairs out, and they're there, and they're sitting, and the officer asks them to move, leave. If they don't, will there be a citation, or will it be a warning, or what will it be?
well, I don't assume that anybody is going to try and take that stand. I think if we educate the public leading up and we do some, you know, some releases and tell them, you know, you're not going to be allowed to gather there, please don't go there. Certain people, you know, would you know, go by the advice of and especially the officers that are there. But we do have written confirmation from these property owners that gives us permission to remove people from the property.
Okay.
So if they refuse to move after being advised by a police officer, they're technically trespassing at that point. Because we've been given the permission to act as an agent for the property owner at that point.
So that would help Ken a lot if you kind of stress that in your article, if you could.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned the Buckeye Lake area would be happy to benefit from the extra business. And that's something I've been wondering about. We did the legislation to pay for the extra manpower. Are the other areas assisting with any of the dollars to help pay for the extra manpower that are going to now benefit because we're moving the route more their direction?
No, ma'am, they're not. But
Did we ask them?
the additional manpower that we're using will be used in the city of Heath. Won't be used in Heber or Buckeye Lake. Those jurisdictions are left up to their own enforcement. However, OSP will be here on the city. They're not on the city's payroll. They're here under mutual aid request from the city of Heath. So they most likely will be employed in the area along deployed along the area of the new route where it's open and more of a rural need for them. So we'll probably have them policing that area with the Heber and Buckeye Lake because they're so close to the interstate at that area. I think that's probably where we'll have them assigned.
So your two officers from Buckeye Lake will actually be in the city of Heath helping.
On Friday night, because they don't have any activities planned for Friday night. Saturday night is the cruise.
Yeah.
But
Friday night, there is no cruise. There's no cruise on Friday. No cruise.
and that's
What about Friday night?
There's no cruise.
but
What about
you know,
Thursday?
Please don't give anybody.
But early Sunday morning.
But our goal isn't to go out and make a whole bunch of people angry. Our goal is to go out and try and encourage people to join in to the moving of the route. And then if they join in, I think they'll have a much better time. I think they'll be able to get places, and I think that the businesses in that general area of Heath will probably see an increase in business, because one of the complaints from the businesses that we hear through the grapevine is the fact that people can't get to them during the Mopar cruise from the past because the traffic is so bad. And I've had some pretty irate customers with me when we have so much traffic and they can't get to where they want to go. They're frustrated. They want to go to grocery shopping. They don't care about the Mopar. They want to go to the Giant Eagle, and they want to go to the BW3s, and they go to this restaurant, and they want to go to that store. And And during that time frame, if anybody's ever tried to get anywhere in that area during 7 o'clock to midnight, it's touch and go, crawling traffic.
Are there, through like the CVB and the other cooperatives, they're creating some attractions down in there?
Yeah.
Drive the people down there?
Yeah, let me kind of talk about that a little bit. First of all, I guess I want to say this. I think everybody involved in this Super Cruise route, Convention and Visitors Bureau, the National Trails Raceway, folks from Buckeye Lake, Hebron, us and Heath. Well, yeah. There's been no single driver of this. This is not a city of Heath thing. Collectively in our area, we have an interest in providing a good atmosphere for the folks who come here from out of town for the Mopar Nationals event at the track. We all in this area have an interest in ensuring that they have a good time, that they want to come back here, that the event comes back to the track. So, as collectively, this regional group began to formulate this new cruise route, it was with that very idea in mind, Jeff, that we would have different stops along the way for people who are here from out of town to be able to enjoy themselves, be able to have different types of entertainment, different places where they can eat, and the model, that's the right word, is the Woodward Dream Cruise up in the Detroit, Michigan area. It's I don't remember how far that cruise is, but it is a pretty long cruise route. It goes through multiple city, township jurisdictions, and along the way, there's stop here, stop there, things to do here, things to do there. Exactly.
Attractions that will motivate folks to go to that end of town, not this end.
Exactly. It's been, it's been great seeing the folks at the KOA down in Buckeye Lake. They've got their thing that they're going to have down there, both food and entertainment wise. Same as with the park area there at the lake. The
Historical Society.
Yeah, they've got their thing. I think they've been working with what's his name, Jim Matheny, the car guy. Yeah, who's been really great working with them on that. The Convention and Visitors Bureau has not yet released, but is going to release a flyer that'll have the map of the route. Will have some information about what's going on at different spots along the way. I would assume that information will be shared with the folks taking part in the Mopar Nationals event at the track. I'm sure that information will be shared in other spots around the community.
Plenty of PSAs all over the place.
I'm sure that it'll be shared with the media.
Right.
There is
Facebook page.
Yeah, there's the 79 Super Cruise. They have their own Facebook page that people can go and like to get information about the route. It's what is it? Route 79 Super Cruise. I think if you search that on Facebook, I think that's the the the, the, the one. Um, the those tabloid sized inserts. I think those are actually going to be inserted in the Advocate at some point. I think that's the case. But the Convention and Visitors Bureau is stepping up to help spread the word on the different attractions that are going to be along the route. Uh, I have no doubt that if I have no doubt that this will be a more attractive evening for the folks from out of town. More and more folks from out of town are choosing to not cruise because the traffic congestion is crazy. And they don't want some local in their Ford pickup truck or Honda Civic doing a burnout and losing control and sliding into their car that they've spent, tens and tens of thousands of dollars on as a Mopar vehicle. I also think that for people in Licking County who want to enjoy seeing these awesome cars from all over the country in a cruise atmosphere, that it'll be a good event for them. If there are locals who are only interested in seeing vehicles go out of control during burnouts, having their children go out on the road to throw water on the road to encourage those burnouts. If they're only interested in violating our open container laws and being verbally abusive, to say the least, toward law enforcement officers, we're not going to tolerate that. We shouldn't tolerate that. And I think that this new route is going to be a positive change, particularly for the folks from out of town. And those are the people that we want to ensure have a good time and want to come back to the Mopar Nationals event at National Trails Raceway.
We need repeat performance from those folks. We just gotta get through the transition of this year. Right. We'll catch on. Yeah,
I think if we do a good job, sir, leading up and spread the word out, I think people will be reasonable. At least that's what I hope for. And there are 3 locations in Heath, I know, that are doing things. There's across the street, Tri-County, RCD Sales, and Coghlan all have things planned for the motoring enthusiasts that night. And, but it is not the Mopar Super Cruise this year, it's the Route 79 Cruise. So, they're encouraging the respectful motoring enthusiast that wants to come out and enjoy an evening and come out. So, it's just not limited to, and it's not just limited to the people from out of town either. I mean, we do have a lot of local people to show up and bathe themselves and have a good time and contribute to the cruise. So, of course, they'd love to see them come out as well, check it out. And, they have 2 stops in Buckeye Lake planned as well. Actually, now I guess the brewing company there in Buckeye Lake is going to have special parking or something, and something special for that Saturday night as well. So before we get to it, there may be a few more businesses that those are happening
think the biggest thing of it is that hopefully these people who bring their car to this from everywhere will become a part of doing the cruise so that people along that route can see them. They don't have to see a burnout. They can see very expensive, very nice cars.
I have, and this is unofficial, Ken, because I don't know this for sure. I'm not involved in this end of the deal. But my understanding is the individual who organizes the Mopar Nationals event, and I think it might be one individual who organizes the Mopar Nationals event. He's all for this. He thinks that this is going to be great, and I think, and so I say this is not official, but I think you will get information later that makes it official. I think publicly that will be known. If the guy organizing the event brings all these people here, thinks that this is great, I think that'll go a long way toward encouraging the folks from out of town who attend the event to participate again. B, at that point, I'll see who can complain. Because this whole thing's for them. Folks from out of town.
Yeah. To
have something to do here while they're visiting our area each year. So, Convention and Visitors Bureau, I think, is helping to shape that message and that information, Ken. So that's why I'm saying I don't have anything official. I'm not involved in that process. So.
The mayor mentioned earlier the Michigan event, that's called the Woodward Dream Cruise. And it draws in excess of 30,000 vehicles for that cruise. It's third weekend in August, I think.
Wow.
And do you know how long of a route that is?
I don't.
Somebody told me it was 10 or 12 miles.
I don't know. They have a website. The Woodward Dream
Yeah,
Cruise
yeah.
has a website. There's an organization, I think, that does that.
On.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's another thing for the folks that want to come out and the motoring enthusiasts for this event. This event is actually more than double the length of the old event. We have 7 miles of cruising for them to do. And so they'll stay a little more stretched out. They'll have a little more room. They won't worry about their cars overheating, sitting in traffic. And looking forward to seeing it work.
And these cars that are some really vintage vehicles, they're just not designed to be able to sit there and idle in bumper to bumper traffic for, an hour. That's their engines. And that's what I'm saying. Fewer and fewer folks from out of town are cruising, right? Well, that's what the whole thing's supposed to be for.
Yeah.
Is for them. Like I said, I've been. There has been great input and great participation from all parties involved in organizing the Route 79 Super Cruise. There's no one entity driving this deal. Everybody has the goal to make an event that will be great for the folks from out of town. And I think we're going to accomplish that.
I can't find how long the route is, but it says it draws 1.5 million people and 40,000 classic cars each year from around the globe, not just in the United States.
40,000 cars. Wow. Is there anything else, Chief?
No, sir. Thank you.
Nothing else. Report was adjourned police 5:59. Fire at 6 o'clock. Okay, Chief.
How long is it?
Dream Cruise 16-mile stretch,
16?
historical Woodward Avenue. Host communities of Berkeley, Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, Bloomfield Township, Ferndale, Huntington Woods, Pleasant Ridge, Pontiac, Royal Oak, and Southeast Michigan.
Wow.
16 miles. Started in 1995 in a soccer field. Guess it's went quite a ways just to get 16 miles.
A big soccer field.
Bigger side.
Okay, June statistics. I did the math for Crable.
I feel so blessed. Thank you.
You're welcome. Fire runs are down 14 compared to this time last year. EMS calls are up 49, and transports are up 39 over last year. Mutual aids given and received are about the same. No legislation, monthly expenses. You can see, and overtime is still down considerably compared to this time last year. Equipment, the Lucas device, which is that CPR battery powered unit, has arrived and is in service right now. It's on truck 7 and is taken to the scene. To my knowledge, it has not been used as of yet. That's a good thing too. It's gonna get, it'll get
Now, this
worked
is
out.
this is the CPR thing, right?
This is, yeah, one,
The chest pumper.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, I know it can't be everywhere at all times, but why would we not put that on a squad?
If I put it on Medic 1, Medic 2 will need it. If I put in our current, with our manpower situation, both medics normally go, unless one's tied up, and truck 7 responds to assist. So right now, by having it on truck 7, it can go either direction if need be, until we get to the second unit. And
Okay.
then, once we get the second Lucas, they'll both go on both medics, and we won't need that.
Gotcha.
So, and that's it, yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, but, right now, the money that we have and all that, I bought just one device. We're in the process of writing a, energy co-op and some places to get some funding for the second unit, and I hope to have that for you.
Is that the Roundup program?
Operation Roundup,
Yeah.
yes.
Has the striker cots been put into use?
You're stealing my thunder. The striker cots have been received or installed and are both in service.
Okay,
As
I'm
we
I'm
speak,
just saying, has it been used to,
Oh, yeah,
as
they've
far
used-
as the heavier individuals that we were?
Why do you suppose he says that to you like that?
Yeah,
Why don't
really,
you
I
put your
mean,
hand on his shoulder?
Very,
sorry,
very
well, hey, sorry.
Very, very
Well,
No, I was just saying, you know, you said you had several times, you had 650-pound people that you had to move. Why does the skinny guy ask?
But I've already had a lot of good comments about it, so, that's good. The Lucas device unfortunately doesn't fit somebody with my girth, so, it'd be questionable for you, but, that was a compliment, actually. Doesn't fit me and questionable for you, let me just say it.
Okay.
I don't have anything to vote on. So, moving right on.
Yeah, please
Now,
do.
where's the?
Keep that shovel in your hand, Mark, just keep digging.
Okay, no problem. So anyway, they're in service. Allison comes in. Allison will be in the next 3 days and give it the shifts training on the cot, but we already went ahead and watched videos and have had kind of a upfront training on that, but you'll be able to point out some of the hidden secrets of the striker cots. But, so take a look.
Did he take Bert's guy as a sample or something?
I'm sorry?
You need to bring birth guide and be a sample or what?
I thought about bringing both pieces of equipment up here tonight, but we'll maybe do it next safety committee meeting. Just, and pull it outside, and I'll put a CPR mannequin on there so you can see the full effect of the Lucas device. It's pretty, as I said, it's just 20 seconds, you can snap it on somebody. And all, yeah,
What does one of those devices cost?
$13,640. So they're not cheap. About $1,000 a year to maintain them. The you know, anything is expensive. The heart monitors are, you know, twice that amount. But this Lucas device has got very good statistics. The neat thing about it is once you put it on, it runs your compressions. They're full length. You don't have people tiring out. Many times we've had to stop compressions to carry somebody up a flight of steps or down a flight of steps and all out to the squad. So once you've established a blood pressure and compression rate, it continues. With limited manpower, you've replaced a person that normally would be committed. So once, as I said, once compressions start and blood pressure is consistent, there isn't any kind of a break. It has one mode that stops the 32 rate to allow for breaths, or with advanced airways and such, it's just nonstop. Yes, sir.
Say that the heart, you know, these compressions are going on and then the heart starts. Does this device automatically, I mean,
No, this
you
device,
just keep pumping it?
this device will continue to pump, and that happens sometimes even with manual compressions.
Right.
Of course, you've got it hooked up to a heart monitor, and you'll be able to detect that pretty quick.
Yeah.
With that, and there's usually minimal amount of damage.
Okay.
Compressed heart units.
Okay.
So anyway, there should be a significant increase in, I'm gonna say, increase in saves. So we'll just have to see how that plays out, but it's a neat device. Let's see here. Green bin. I'm sorry, oh yeah, grain bin rescue, another training device.
Where will that be done?
That'll be done behind the fire station. And that's just they've got several different props, and this, out here at Hebron, the grain bin stuff, boy, we talked about that a while back. What was the family that, the Gellers do that was lost in the grain bin?
Yeah,
4th of
boy.
July weekend a few years ago. And also, it's kind of unique, and yet there's a lot of grain bins, and we can be involved with that because of our ladder truck actually gaining access into a bin. But so anyway, it's good training, 6 hours worth of continuing ed, and we'll be hosting a class that'll be opened up to some of the surrounding departments also. The mayor and I have been talking about this and the promotional chief's test.
Pumper.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that, didn't I? No, we've been talking about that too.
Yeah.
The mayor signed the paperwork, and the rescue pumper is ordered through Pierce. Thank you all. We talked about this last council, so not much more. I think they've got, 280, 290 days to deliver for the paperwork, but I'll be getting with Jay and the mayor and all. We'll come up with whatever we need to put down. And all that.
290 days?
Yeah. So, anywho, it's in the works. The chief's test and some information that you'd asked me to get, Mayor, we hadn't talked yet. The Ohio Fire Chiefs $1,500 is what the flat rate is for, we go down that list, we pick the reading materials. Text-wise, they generate the test, they administer the test, they grade the test, and Deb Craney and I talked today about this.
Okay.
She's all for this.
Okay.
And she'll still be part of, civil service has to participate also.
Yeah.
But they also mediate any complaints pertaining to the test, and she was all for that.
Okay.
This is a great location.
This location, this room?
This room for a test
Oh.
for the limited number of people, and so we've talked. I'll have to post, find out how many people are interested in the promotional test. That'll be the lieutenants and the captains within the firehouse. Of course, I think everybody knows I'm retired.
Is it
60.
open outside of your employees promotion? But if you bring someone in from outside, will they be able to test?
No, we're gonna test our officers in the department. We've got 3 captains and 3 lieutenants.
Okay.
So, I have her, she's 1,500 flat fee to generate the test and do all that, and then $20 per person, additional to take the test.
That's
So
less than I thought.
it actually was considerably less than I thought, because for
Yeah.
some reason $2,600 stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Say 1,500.
it's 1,500 for them to administer the test,
test.
generate the test, and then, and as I said, we have a list of about, 82 books, textbooks, that we can generate that test from, and of course, all, collapse of a burning building and Brannigan stuff on, building constructions and chief officer stuff. There's a ton of, reading materials out there.
Chief Higginson described to
They will
me that
generate
when,
the test, or you will?
no,
They
they
will
will.
generate the test.
They will generate the
Yeah.
They will
test.
generate
Chief
the
Huggins
test.
described to
And
me
administer.
when he was hired as chief, the civil service test that he took was maybe not a good fit for the size of our department. He said, he felt that it was kind of more geared toward a major metropolitan type department. So by going this route, we hope to be able to have a civil service test that's a little more closely geared to our type of operation.
Yes, yeah,
We need to relook at the one
Yes.
he took.
I'm sorry.
I can't believe it's not raining tonight.
I'll tell you.
And how much was it per test?
$20 per
What is
applicant,
Yeah.
and $1,500 for them to design, give, and grade, as well as mediate any objections.
Remember the right number? Good.
So, and as I said, Deb Craney is on board and said, boy, that's great, but a lot of those issues, there'll still be some things depending on applicant as far as a few points that'll have to be added to scores and all that, based on our civil service guidelines.
Residency and whatnot.
Right, so, anyway, and we'll have to decide exactly when we want all this to take place. Said I'm not going till middle of January, so.
What would you recommend, Chief? From there, just, what would you like to see?
As far as,
As far as doing the test.
I know at one time the mayor had said to me that it would be nice if we had somebody hired that I could work with. And
That's what I'm
work on
saying,
work on a budget,
Yeah.
together, so I don't create a budget that they have to live with.
Right.
That first year. Of course, I would love to be able to create a budget that somebody else had to.
No, but what I'm saying, what would your recommendation, what would you recommend that, how soon we try
Well,
get that.
That's kind of what we're talking
Yeah,
about, and we're gonna work that timeline. The other thing you gotta consider too is these these materials that the chief's talking about that are utilized to put the test together. Well, we want to let our people know that this is the stuff that you need to be reviewing,
Yeah.
right? So we gotta give them time
Right.
to obtain the material, review the material. That's the fair way to do it.
And depending upon, and there is a time frame, I haven't read the civil service to confirm that, but about 60 days, I think, is plenty of time. Once it's posted, we know how many people we apply, generate, and that gives them time to study. And, within a week time frame, turnaround, we have a test scores back and such. So, I mean, if you're looking at 60 days and such, October, November sometime, that will put us towards the end of the year. So we're just gonna have to play it out. I have a few more questions I need to talk to the fire chiefs about, and then Mayor and I need to do our homework. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Doug Brown was playing football and tore the ligaments off of his right bicep. So he's off for 3 months. It's just one of those things that he's already had the surgery and they drilled his bones and reattached ligaments and such. He feels bad, but nothing to do about that. So it never fails. Under others, we have 2 things going on right now, and one of them is Boeing. Boeing has approached us. Boeing for years, of course, the Air Force Base for years had a fire department. Then they privatized, and they had a private fire service. Then they downgraded their manpower, and now they want to. This is, as it was explained to me the other day, this is a legacy of one of their upper echelon people, that they merge all of their security, monitoring, and fire protection out of Seattle, Washington. So they want to do away with monitoring. They have a fire panel that came out of the old fire station, was put over at the security side, and is monitored 24/7. And the ideal thing with that is they still have some security people that when an alarm is activated, they send somebody before you roll the cavalry. About any place else, you get a fire alarm and we get the call on it. And I, back in the early 70s, ran that console when I was working out at the base as a student for Andy Barger, the chief at the time, and all. But it could dramatically increase our run volume and such. But they want to send that signal to Seattle, and then Seattle, which is their global communication center, will via radio send information back that there's been an activated fire alarm, or they'll maybe utilize,
Like progress to me.
So anyway, the meeting I had the other day, I told them that I am not happy, nor do I feel comfortable if that has the mission, that for the military, whatever. I just think it's too vital a mission for them to be shipping a signal to Seattle, and it could delay fire response to the site. And also, we're in the process of negotiating some things and coming up with some sort of some guidelines, basically a protocol. Things, well, long before my time, were agreed upon that if somebody pulled on that console, if somebody pulled the fire alarm or whatever, they would send people to check out the alarm versus calling the fire department. So that's why we don't have a high number of calls up there. But I think after talking with them the other day, there really isn't anything in black and white. I think it was just kind of a gentleman's agreement from my predecessor. And so we're working on.
Do we know how frequently they have an alarm that they have to go investigate, and then it turns out that it's nothing? How frequently does that happen?
I asked Ken Peters, who's kind of, I think he's lieutenant of like Barton, and he had told me they had like 65 fire alarms last year. I know in past tense, and I just received an email, thank you, that I haven't even digested yet, Mayor, but some of the things that are wrong with the panel and all that, but I don't have that information right now.
Okay.
I know when I ran that console, it was common to have problems with it, and there was a tape spit out or whatever, but there's actually 26,000 different things, that what they call points, that system monitors. And you've got smokes and duct smokes, you've got water flows, you've got hydrogen alarms, that is such a unique, it's a neat building, but to classify it and high bays and the work that goes on there is just, kind of Buck Rogers at times, but it's one of the safest places in the county by far for all its redundant systems and things, but anyway, I'm not keen on the idea of that fire monitoring being shipped off to a third party someplace out of possibly the state, or that signal going to Seattle, Washington, and that I voiced that opinion, and I have seen monitoring companies that took anywhere from 20 minutes to 2 hours after the fire alarm was activated to get a signal back. And we be notified. So it happens sometimes, and you know how I am with the internet and all that. I'm old fashioned and all, but a lot of that may be state of the art stuff, but we deal in Murphy's Law and things, I happened to call the other day. I was calling the Boeing site, took it offline and off the internet, and I got the Seattle Global Communications Center trying to call just up the street. And I asked the girl that was the operator, I said, I'm glad I got you. I explained who I was, and I said, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever had a problem making contact with any one of your sites? And she's like, oh, absolutely not. That's never happened. And I'm sorry, bullshit flag. Because, things being internet based and all that, if that's the case, that scares the jeepers out of me, because you know how often our internet and everything else at our station goes down. So anyway, that's a problem. And we're researching that and got some homework to do with all that. But so have a reduction in manpower out there even more, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. So, yeah.
I have a question. I just wanted to go back to the civil service test just for a minute, because I just wanted to clarify something for me. So you'll select like what materials you want to see on the test, right, and give that to them.
Yes.
And then you'll give those materials to them to study.
Do we give them copies of it, or do we let them know what it is and they go get it?
We will post a test, a date. The test will be taken out of these texts, and you give a list of the textbooks. Okay. It's up to them. Now, some of those we may already have in the fire station.
But it's not. It's going to be like a lot of material. They're not just going to be handed like this is what you have to study, because we don't want someone that just has to memorize and then.
Right.
That's not necessarily be the best.
There's
fire.
80 some different textbooks and there's. You go on their website. There's 80 some different things you can choose from. There's a big.
Yeah.
But that's one of the flaws with, I think, civil service testing, is that sometimes people are really good at taking tests. They're not really good at putting it into practice. And you're kind of, forced to take people who test well.
Did you wanna put your hand on my shoulder on that one?
If you want someone in a leadership role that
That's
can think on their feet and
Yeah.
they, can hit the
Yeah.
ground running and they have some common sense about what you do in these situations, that they're not
Well,
relying
and
on.
whether we're hiring for chief of fire department or a utility worker one, the civil service test is not the end all be all of the process. It provides a ranking. It gives you an idea of their intellectual ability. We are not forced to hire the #1 score on civil service. We're not even forced to hire among the first group that we interview off the rankings of the civil service test. So it's
But
just
that's the
another.
reason why you're not gonna hire those. You can't just say,
Yeah.
I don't wanna hire those.
Well,
It has to be
Yeah, I mean,
legit.
if through the interview process we don't feel that that's a good fit, then there you go.
Used to be,
It's not it's a tool, that's used as part of the process, but it's not it's not the end all. Exactly.
did you not, and I have not seen the civil service rules have changed, but it used to be top 3, 2 slots, top 5, and all, and then, yes, you're right, you had to give them. But I think you all changed civil service that allows anybody in the top 10.
Top 7.
No, what's that number? Is it 5?
Seven.
5.
Is it 5 or 7?
Rule of 5. not rule of
5, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you say that it is 5,
two.
and
Rule of
Yeah.
5.
that's the latest.
Yes.
As I said, I hadn't seen that, I had heard that. Okay, well,
And you've got how many eligible candidates?
Newark, I think, has 10.
6?
Does that sound right, 10?
Newark has the rule of 10.
Oh, okay.
and that's probably where I got it.
Ronnie?
Connor and I were talking about.
Ronnie?
I think Chief Bailey just answered. You said you had 6 people that you think may be interested in taking the test?
There are 3 lieutenants and 3 captains. We have to determine how many of those are interested. Several have indicated that they are, but if there was only 1 or 2, then a test may not be necessary. That's, depending upon, I anticipate all 6 want to test. I mean, it's a great experience if nothing else, but. So anyway, that's in the future coming up. And then computer posting, just Jenna and Greg Coyle and myself are working on some more things that we're gonna post on our webpage. We've had a lot of questions here lately. Green Valley, they like to have bonfires outside of their apartments over on Green Valley. And,
It's only when the furniture is out.
yeah. But, how far do I have to be from the apartment?
To burn my couch.
I thought that was a high station.
This is gonna be on the city webpage, and we already have the Ohio burn laws and things, but this just, if it's a bonfire, open burn versus gas grill, how far from a structure? What if it's one of those clay fireplaces, and it just a little bit more detail where these people will know. And that's, as I say, Greg Coyle, Jenna and I are working on that. That'll be posted shortly. So, and that's all I have for tonight.
Any other things? With nothing else to report, we're adjourned at 6:29.
I took as long as you did, John.
Well, Mark, proud of you.
What do you want?
Thanks, guys.
I wanted to ask you about mutual aid with Newark staffing down.
Yeah, with and I know the mayor said that,
Did you send me an email,
No,
Ken?
Because I don't, I'm not gonna do it this week, it might be next week. And I'm still not sure exactly what, I guess if you have any numbers for the year or any,
oh,
any numbers I compare now to in the past when Newark had more like 19 staff members, now it's down to 14.
I mean, I have per month.
Tim, I'm looking through here and I don't see anything in this packet, but I
Based
know
on
that David Morrison has a packet, and I know that there were a couple places or whatever there for you.
10 years.
I forgot to ask,
Those stats.
remember last week, we talked about maybe switching these guys to the first